Hello everyone, welcome to Mohan's Teaching Corner. Today we are going to discuss about the realism in Western philosophy. If you are really preparing for the Telangana Public Service Commission, which is going to be conducted Deputy DEO and diet lecturers, and if you are the student of B.Ed and D.Ed, and those who are preparing for the NET set exam in education, which is very useful for your preparation, and it will give the success to your career. So please do watch and subscribe and share with your friends. Let us start. Okay, introduction to realism. The core belief, realism says that reality exists on its own outside our mind. The physical world is real and most important for understanding life. Here the realism says that reality exists on its own, okay, even though it is outside of our mind. So the physical world is real, and the most important thing is that we have to understand that particular life. This is called realism. So in contrast, so realism opposite of idealism. See, idealism believes that reality is mainly mental or spiritual, but in realism, they are not they are disagree with the idealism. So the approach here followed as reality focus on what they can see and prove through evidence. They prefer concrete facts over the abstract ideas. Here in the realism, the approach is like that one have to see and prove through evidence, then only they will believe in that particular fact. So this is about the introduction to realism. Then who is the father of realism? Okay, the first realist is the Aristotle, who lived between 384 to 322 BCE. He is also known as father of realism in Western philosophy. Okay, he created the scientific method by watching and studying the nature carefully. So Aristotle disagreed with his teacher Plato. So Plato believed that ideas were more real than physical things, but Aristotle uh, thought that thought is totally opposite of his teacher. Okay, so he believes what is exist through scientific method by watching and studying nature carefully. So this is the father of idealism is the Aristotle. Please note this. Then what is the key concept of realism? So facts over feeling. So real is the world and can be studied properly. It doesn't depend on what they think or feel about it. So in the realism, physical world is the most of the things we can see, touch, is more than important what ideas or thoughts. So this is the realism. So learning through senses, it is a key concept. So we learn about this world by seeing, hearing, touching and experience the things with our five senses, by hearing, by seeing, by touching, by experience. So these are the key concepts of realism. Then independent reality. So world exists on its own. So learning through our senses, matter and scope. So whether we believe or not, the world is exist. Whether we think or not, it doesn't need our mind to make it as a real. So the world is real, it exists whether we think about or not. So learning through senses. So we already discussed, we learn about this real world through our five senses: what we see, what we hear, what we touch, what we smell, and what we taste. So gives us good information about the what is really there. So matter and shape. So Aristotle's realism, everything is real, has two parts. One part is that it has to be have like it has the material and it's made up of shape or form that makes what is it. So materialist, it should be a materialist. It should have the form or shape. So that makes the reality. Then what is the scientific methods in realism? One is observation, second one is experimentation, third one is reasoning, fourth one is the verification. So in observation, we have to watch things carefully to see what happened in nature and pay attention to every details and pattern. So we have to observe the things. Not only observe, we have to make the experimentation. So test ideas by doing control experiments. This helps us find out our ideas whether right or wrong. So it should not only assume, not only think, but you have to do experimentally. Then reasoning. So think logically about what we learn from our test to understand how things work and why. So here observation, experiment, and we have to think logically. Then so after these steps, the verification has to bend. We know something is true when our world is experience matches what we predicted would happen. So these are the scientific methods: observation, experimentation, reasoning, and verification. Then forms of realism, and is a part 1 and part 2 is there. Part 1, Aristotelian realism. So based on Aristotle's ideas that real things have both material and shape. So two conditions has to be applied. The things has to be a material and where we can touch and feel, and it should have the shape. We learn by watching and studying the nature world around us. Then one is Aristotelian realism, then humanistic realism. So it is proposed by Erasmus. So studies old books and stories to understand people and reality. So it mixes the learning from the past and useful for the knowledge for today. So we have to study the past in order to understanding the present. Then scientific realism, which is proposed by the John Locke, says that science tells us about the real world. Locke believed we learn through our senses, not from ideas we are born with. So it says about the scientific realism by John Locke. Then social realism, it is given by this information given by the Francisco Rebellious. So says education should prepare people for living with others. So this it says about the people should live together, they should not be alone. Okay, the teaches practical subjects that help the students to real world and social situations. Then in part 2, okay, realism part 2 here, sense of realism, which is proposed by the John Amos Comenius. This type says that we learn best by touching and seeing real things. He was the first to use the pictures and hands-on activities in teaching. So who introduced the pictures and practical things in teaching? John Amos Comenius. He says about the sense realism. So neo-realism, which is proposed by the Russell Murray. So made by the Bertrand Russell and G.E. Murray. This says the world exists on its own without needing of us to think about it. We can know the things directly through our senses. So and one more thing is the natural, which is very similar to the realism. So naturalism says everything in nature follows the nature rules. So it uses science to explain the things that doesn't believe in magic or spirits. So idealism and naturalism, they never believes in magics and beliefs and spirits. Then what is the principles of realism? So there are four principles here. The physical world is real, body and mind work together, learning to live in nature, education should be useful. So the physical world is real. The world is made up of real physical things. There are many different things in the world, not just one single thing. So body and mind work together. We learn when our body, okay, through our senses, okay, like touching, seeing, okay, like that, and our mind through thinking work together to understand things. So body and mind should work together. It is the principle of realism. Learning to live in nature. So people have to learn how to live in nature very well in the nature world around us. So we succeeded by understanding the how nature works. So education should be useful. So education should teach the practical skills rather than impractical things. Okay, the skill that the people work and live well in the real world. It focuses on the skills and practical things. So this is the principles of realism. Then what is the educational aims of realism? So there are three aims are here. It is mentioned: getting ready for real life. Okay, think like a scientist, understanding the people and nature. So getting ready for real life. A realistic education want to teach the students the knowledge, skills they need to be succeed in the real world, not just in the books or ideas. Thinking like a scientist. So learning to think in a scientific way that values the proof, testing things out, and logically thinking instead of just guessing or following your own traditions. So understandings people and nature. So learning about the both natural world and how people live together by carefully studying and watching how things works. These are the educational aims of realism. Then curriculum under realism, maths and science. So students should learn maths, chemistry, biology, maths and astronomy. So these subjects help them understand how the nature work and okay, then practical skills. So as per the realism, practical should be inculcated. The students should learn the technical skills and job training that help them work and useful for in the society. So learning for real life. So all the subjects should be connected to the real life. Okay, the student should learn things they can actually use, not just memorize the from books. So it is opposed the rote method. So teaching and teachers in realism. So it is a Socratic method, scientific guide, reality in exposure. So Socratic method. What is Socratic method? Teacher employs the question and answer techniques to stimulate the critical thinking, guide the students to discover through logic reasoning. So question, let them have the ask the question, give, let the student give the answer. So it should have the Socratic method. Question and answer method is also called as Socratic method. Then scientific guide. Okay, the scientific guide here the scientific guide here will see the scientific guide. The teacher serves as an expert guide who models the scientific thinking and demonstrates proper methods of investigation. So then reality exposure. The teacher should be a realistic educator. Primary role to expose the students to reality through direct observation, experimentation and analyze the evidence. So here the teacher should be a behavior case Socratic and he should be a scientific guide. He is the reality exposure. Then it comes to the school as a social mirror. So in realism, reflection of society, school should mirror the actual social world, preparing the student for their future roles and responsibility. So everything should be a practicality which should happen in the classroom. So individual development. So education develops the individual who can function efficiently within existing social structures and contribute meaningfully. And then practical ethics. So it given the importance on moral values, okay, and practical values, so that the society can interact without any harm, without harming anyone, okay. uh, then social progress. Through realistic education, the society advances by applying the scientific knowledge to solve practical problems. Then some of the criticisms are there. So this realism totally opposes the spiritual and ethical neglects, and it's more emphasized on facts. Okay, and there is a creative and emotional limitations is there. So critics argue that realism focus on only material world and neglects the spiritual dimensions, and which can lead the moral relativism by excluding the transcendental identical values. So they are more focused on physical things and forget about the spiritual and ethical things. So overemphasis on facts. So the realist curriculum can become overly focused on factual information and examination results, so potentially creating the education system that value memorization over understanding. But in reality, the memorization still exists. Okay, then creative and emotional limitations. So it is totally forgot about the abstract things. So it is prioritizing objective knowledge, and realism may undervalue the emotional intelligence like love, like that. So creative expression, arts dimensions, essential to holistic human development. So creativity is also should be there, but however, it is ignored the creative and emotional things. Then realism. What is the conclusion of the realism? Practical wisdom. Realism offers a practical and scientific approach to the education that grounds learning is observable reality and prepare the students for the actual world they inhabit. So it is totally supporting the practical wisdom and knowledge application. It promotes the application of knowledge to solve real world problems, advancing both the individual capability and social progress through scientific understanding. Then holistic balance. A balanced educational approach incorporates reality empirism while acknowledging the importance of ideal values. Creativity and emotional intelligence is truly holistic education. So this is about the realism. Let's have some of the multiple choice questions which is very useful for your examination. So who is considered as the father of realism in Western philosophy? So we always studied Plato, Socrates, Aristotle and John Locke. The answer is the father of realism is uh, here Aristotle. Okay. Then the second question, which educational method is associated with the realism for developing scientific thinking? Memorization, Socratic method, meditation, recitation. The answer is Socratic method. So what is the main belief of realism in philosophy? Reality is spiritual, reality is created by mind, reality exists independently, reality is a dream. So the answer is reality exists independently. Fourth one, which of the following is not a form of realism? Scientific realism, humanistic realism, idealistic realism, social realism. The answer is socialistic realism. So, which philosophy is linked to a scientific realism and believe in sense experience? So, options are Erasmus, uh, Comences, John Locke, Plato. The answer is John Locke, who is linked the scientific realism and believed in sense experience. So Dr. John Locke. Then, which type of realism emphasizes hands-on learning with the real objective? Sense realism, humanistic realism, neo-realism, naturalism. The answer is sense realism. So, which subject is the most emphasized in the realistic curriculum? Philosophy, poetry, science, methodology. So, mythology. The answer is the science is the most emphasized in the realistic curriculum. So, which principle is central to realistic education? Options are abstract thinking, imagination, learning through senses, spiritual awakening. So, the answer is learning through senses. Who contributed to neo-realism? Rabelais, Russell and More, Aristotle, Comenius. The answer is Russell and More. So, which form of realism advocates the preparing people for social life? Naturalism, humanistic realism, social realism, census realism. The answer is social realism. Then, realism believes that education should be a religious, idealistic, practical, emotional based. So, here uh, like it is a practical. So realistic teacher who expected to act as a spiritual leader, mystics, scientific guides and ideal mentors. The answer is scientific guides. So what is one of the major criticism of realism? Too much idealism, neglect physical world, over focus on facts, too spiritual. The answer is the major criticism of realism is over focus on facts. According to realism, how does one gain knowledge? Through dreams, through sense and logic, through meditation, by praying. The answer is through senses and logic. Which educational aim is to emphasize in realism? Options are mysticism, self-realization, scientific thinking, artistic freedom. The answer is scientific thinking. So this is about the realism. Please do watch and subscribe my channel and share it with your friends. In coming lecture, I am going to come with the new chapter which will be useful to your preparation for whether it's a registered HM or deputy DEO or diet lectures. Thank you for watching my channel. Okay, all the best for your coming examination.